Hi there. Welcome to Learn Resource Therapy, a YouTube channel that helps you to understand resource therapy as both a personality theory and a personality therapy. So in this short video, we're going to start to understand the way that resource therapy personality theory understands the personality. So resource therapy was developed by Professor Gordon Emerson, and it came from a therapy that was originally called ego state therapy. Ego state therapy is interested in the parent part of us, the adult part of us, and the childlike part of us, the child within, if you like. So Professor Gordon Emerson studied with the experts, the Watkins, who were the experts of the time in ego state therapy, and then developed resource therapy personality theory and therapy as an advanced parts theory. One of the things that is very unique about resource therapy is that there are very solid protocols and action steps, almost like a map for the therapist to understand how to work with parts. And in a later video, we're going to talk about other types of parts therapy that are quite well known today, the main one being IFS, or internal family systems. In another video, I'll be sharing with you the difference between resource therapy and IFS. They are both incredible parts theories, but are slightly different in many ways. So resource therapy has this map, and the map is a protocol which guides the therapist how to work with parts that are holding pathologies. And in our next video, we're going to learn about what the pathologies are according to resource therapy. The great thing I love about resource therapy and that I love about teaching resource therapy is it's a very structured type of therapy. First of all, we're interested in what the person wants to change. So I'm always saying to my clients, what are you ready to change and why now? And I'm also interested in how they would like to feel and act at the end of our time together. This gives me almost like a solution-focused full stop that I can come back around and check on at the end of our work. We can come back and we can do an RT action step, which is called imagery check, at the end of the work to check that their therapeutic goal has been met. So that very first question, how do you want to feel? How do you want to act? What are you ready to change? Those questions, those curiosities, then guide our work. We are looking for what are the resources within the client that are healthy and that are holding no pathology. And when we think about healthy when it comes to resource therapy, what that means is we have the right part out in the driver's seat, if you like, at the right time, in the right amount, according to our values. But for many of us, if we've got unprocessed trauma, conflicted states, behaviours that are running the show, we can end up having parts of us driving the bus, driving us, that are not the parts that we would prefer to be there. They're parts that tend to get in the way. And often these parts aren't liked by other parts. So it can feel like we have this internal conflict going on. As a resource therapist, when I have an understanding of where my client wants to go, what they want to change in terms of their feelings and their actions, then using my map, I can start to understand what are the parts within themselves that are still holding pathologies, dis-ease, if you like, unwanted emotions, unwanted behaviours, internal conflict, the wrong part out at the right time. I can start with my client to sort of scope out what are the parts of this client that need our help. And we can also scope out what are the parts of this client that are in a healthy state, which are the client's current resources. We all have healthy resources that can come into the driver's seat at the right time according to what we want, resources that can support other parts of ourself when needed, but potentially we also might have parts of ourselves that are holding on to unwanted emotions. Almost, I guess we could say, a backpack of old stuff. And when that part comes into the driver's seat, it brings with it all of that sensory experience, the beliefs it has about itself, the memories, the behaviours. Resource therapy helps us to understand that there are many parts to us, but there can only be one part in the driver's seat at a time. Resource therapy is a beautiful, compassionate therapy that helps us to build strong relationships internally and helps us to let go of what is no longer serving us so we can live a life that is authentic and value-driven, not unprocessed emotion driven. So I hope you enjoy this series and come along for the ride. I'm Tracy Lynch. I'm a trainer in resource therapy, a senior resource therapy trainer, and I run 2-day foundation resource therapy courses in person and online, and then also the 8-day clinical course in person and online, predominantly online now. So the 2 days and the 8 days make up the 10-day clinical resource therapy qualification. Then you can start practicing, going along to supervision groups, really starting to master the art of resource therapy. Potentially down the track, you might like to do an advanced therapy course, advanced resource therapy, which is combined with our Train the Trainer. So you can become a resource therapy trainer yourself. The other great thing about resource therapy is there's a beautiful career pathway there for you to be a resource therapist, to master your craft, to deepen your skills, and then become a supervisor and trainer yourself. If you'd like to know more about my training, feel free to jump on my website at tracylynch.com.au. Bye for now.